All right, continue on. It looks like is here is the nominative. So he did the same thing under the consul Atilius Catellus, of whom there's various traditions of his name. Some say it was Liberius, some other people say it was Quintus, whoever the hell that is, and most people say that they write that he was called Calpurnius Flemum, who did the same thing. He, when he saw a sent army go into a valley, of which sides, all of them, superior sides, all the high sides, the enemy had incinerated on, they're lying in wait, he demanded and received 300 soldiers, and he encouraged these people, which were mentioned, that by their virtues they could preserve the army or save the army and run down into the middle of the valley. And to oppress these from everywhere, the enemy descended. And there was a long and harsh battle which retained them. There was an occasion for the consul, or of the consul to the consul, given to extract his army. Oh, there we go. Q. Minucius, the consul in Liguria, with his army being sent out into some narrows, when now it seemed observable to everyone that this was an example, so they're recalling the example of the Caudine Forks disaster. The Numidian auxiliaries, on account of, when you look at them, they seem deformed, both of themselves and of their horses. They were an ugly-looking bunch. He ordered them to ride into the jaws, or the openings, of these narrows, which were being held. In the first place, the enemy were a bit intent, lest they were being provoked or attacked or something, so they chucked some station, or they sent out some men. Purposely, the Numidians, to increase contempt of them, they affected, through some mockery or sporting type of thing, that they would slip off their horses, giving them a bit of a spectacle. To this novelty of the matter, with the rows being laxated or relaxed of the barbarians, as much as far as they were very calm watching the spectacle, which when the Numidians noticed this, gradually they succeeded. Succeed means going up to under. They went up to underneath where these men went, or went up to these men, and they added their spurs to the horses, and they erupted through the intermissions, or the little breaks of the stations of the enemy, through gaps. Then, what have we got here? They incendied or burnt the nearby fields, which was necessary for the Ligurians then to be called away to defend their stuff. And the included or shut-in Romans could emitere, they could come out. El Sulla, in the social war around Aesernia, amongst some narrows, he was apprehended, captured off guard by the army of the enemy. So unexpectedly was caught, of which, or to which, Dullius was the guy in charge of the enemy. Having sought a bit of a colloquium about conditions of peace, it was done without effect. There was no peace. The enemy, nevertheless, on account of the truce, he was noticing that the enemy, in the accusative, were being negligent, and they were resolved again. They were loose off guard. So by night, he set off, having left a bloke who blows a horn, a buccinator, which the vigils would give some faith to those remaining. So he divided them up. So the normal, he was going to sound the horn at the normal times. And with the fourth vigil having been committed or finished, he was to follow up and join the rest. So these guys, safe with all their impediments, which are baggage and their torment engines, he led them into Tuta, into safety. The same guy, Sulla, against Archelaus, the prefect of Mithridates in Cappadocia. By the unequalness of the place and the multitude of the enemy who was pressed, he made mention of peace. And in the interpositioned time, interposed while the negotiations were going on, he called away the intentions of the enemy. So he got their attention, and he evaded, he ran away. Hasdrubal, the frater of Hannibal, when he was not able to evade from a sultan, which is usually a mountain pass or something, with the jaws of it, the openings of it were all obsessed, being besieged. He exited with Claudius Nero. He said he could go away if he could receive a dismissal from Spain. If he got permission, he'd just take his army and leave Spain. Cavaliering for a while, carrying on, talking and blah, blah, blah. Then he drew out for several days with these conditions, in which he didn't omit in all these days that through all the narrow pathways, and because of this neglect, he would send out through these parts of his army. Then himself with the rest, he easily fugited, and looks like they weren't carrying much armour and weapons expedis. There's that if you want to type it in and download some things.